October 4, 2025. A warm Saturday afternoon in Tanzania. A military officer appears on camera, calm, composed, but with fire in his eyes. He looks straight into the lens and says, "Your government is stealing from you. And if we don't stop them, this nation will collapse." That man is John Charles Tesha, a weapons instructor in the Tanzania Air Force, and what he just did hasn't happened in over 60 years. He went on camera, in uniform, live on social media, and called for the military to overthrow the government. Within hours, the video explodes across East Africa. TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp, every feed flooded with Tesha's face. The government tries to delete it. But it's already too late. 2 days later, Tesha is discharged from service. His whereabouts, unknown. Why would a decorated officer throw away his career? Why risk everything? The answer, as it turns out, leads to one woman, President Samia Suluhu Hassan, Tanzania's first female leader. The woman many believed would change everything. She did, but not in the way they hoped. And that's where this story begins. March 2021, Tanzania wakes up to shocking news. President John Magufuli is dead. The official cause, a heart condition. But Magufuli had been missing for weeks, and everyone suspected COVID-19. A dark irony, because Magufuli spent months claiming the virus didn't exist. He was known as the bulldozer. The man who built roads, renegotiated mining contracts, and stood up to foreign powers. A nationalist who said Tanzania for Tanzanians. People either loved him, or feared him. He fired ministers live on TV. He arrested journalists. He banned opposition rallies. He was brutal, but he got things done. So when he died, Tanzanians felt genuine grief. For all his flaws, he seemed to care. 2 days later, Samia Suluhu Hassan, his vice president, took the oath of office. She became not only Tanzania's first female president but the first woman ever to lead an East African nation. The symbolism was enormous. The world cheered. Finally, a fresh start. At first, Samia looked like the reformer Tanzania had been waiting for. She lifted media bans. Released political prisoners. Opened dialogue with the opposition. Admitted COVID was real, and encouraged vaccinations. For the first time in years, it felt like hope. Diplomats smiled again. Investors returned. Tanzania was back on track. But here's what nobody noticed. Samia didn't just inherit a presidency. She inherited a system. The CCM, Chama cha Mapinduzi, Party of the Revolution, has ruled Tanzania since 1977. That's nearly half a century. Every president, every parliament, every institution, all CCM. Elections happen, yes. But somehow, CCM always wins. Every single time. It began as a party of liberation, uniting mainland Tanzania and Zanzibar under one flag. Its first president, Julius Nyerere, dreamed of African socialism, dignity, unity, self-reliance. But over time, ideology faded. Power remained. And power, once it settles in, doesn't like to let go. By 2022, Samia was surrounded by the old guard, retired generals, former presidents, and wealthy businessmen. Men who had survived every administration. Men who quietly run Tanzania from the shadows. They made her an offer: fight us and fall, or walk with us and stay president. She chose power. Reforms slowed. Then stopped. By 2024, Tanzania was back to censorship, intimidation, and fear. The woman who promised change had become the system itself. August 11, 2024, a day that would silence hundreds. Police arrested over 500 people in one sweep, opposition leaders, journalists, youth activists, all detained before International Youth Day. Among them, Tundu Lissu, main opposition leader. Freeman Mbowe, party chairman. John Nyika, secretary-general. They were released days later, just long enough to send a message, "We're watching you." 3 weeks later, opposition protests were banned. Then came the disappearances. The Tanganyika Law Society recorded 83 cases of missing people. Opposition members, student leaders, even bystanders. One of them was Ali Muhammad Kabayo, abducted in broad daylight on September 6, 2024. 2 days later, his tortured body washed ashore, his face burned with acid. After that, the country went silent. Fear spread faster than truth. By October, families were desperate. Loved ones vanished. No answers. No justice. Then, The Citizen, one of Tanzania's biggest newspapers, posted an animated video. A cartoon version of President Samia flips through TV channels, seeing families crying for their missing loved ones. At the end, she turns off the TV, visibly shaken. It was satire, but it was true. Those families were real. Those people were missing. The government's response? They suspended the entire media company, all platforms, all accounts, all gone. Their reason: the animation harmed national unity. The debate exploded. Some defended the president, saying critics couldn't handle a woman in power. Others fired back. Stop hiding behind gender. A dictator is a dictator, man or woman. But while the world argued about gender, people kept vanishing. And that's when Tundu Lissu re-emerged, the man the government feared most. In 2017, gunmen fired 16 bullets into his car. He survived, barely. 19 surgeries. 3 years in exile. The attackers were never found. In 2023, he returned home. Rebuilt the opposition. And by April 2025, he was arrested again, this time for treason. His crime? A speech calling for electoral reforms. His trial keeps getting postponed, 5 times now. Because keeping him in prison is the point. When foreign lawyers came to defend him, they were detained and deported. Even former Chief Justice of Kenya, Willy Mutunga, was turned away. President Samia's response? A warning against foreign interference. The government had stopped pretending. Then came October 18, 2025, 2 weeks after Tesha's viral video. At the Kenya-Tanzania border, John Heche, deputy chairman of the opposition, tried to cross into Kenya for the funeral of Raila Odinga, the legendary Kenyan leader. Immigration officers seized his passport. He went live on his phone. Within hours, the video spread. Hundreds showed up, Kenyans and Tanzanians together. No violence. No vandalism. Just people with phones, refusing to be invisible. 6 hours later, the government released him. Think about that. A regime that disappears opponents back down in 6 hours because of cameras and crowds. That day, East Africa's youth learned something powerful. When we show up together, and the world is watching, even dictators hesitate. Captain Tesha saw all of it, the disappearances, the arrests, the silence. And on October 4th, he said, "Enough." For over 2 hours, he spoke directly to the people. He named names: former President Kikwete, businessman Rostam Aziz, calling them the deep state behind Tanzania's decay. He accused them of looting the nation, from the Richmond energy deal to mining contracts sold for pennies. His demand: Let the military take over. Stop the fake election. Investigate Magufuli's death. In his eyes, this wasn't treason. It was patriotism. A call to defend Tanzania from corruption and foreign control. Soon, people began calling him the Ibrahim Traore of Tanzania. The soldier who dared to speak. Now, as we approach Election Day, October 29, 2025, the stage is set. President Samia is campaigning hard. Billboards blanket every city. Her face on every poster, every screen. But the opposition? Their leader is in prison, facing the death penalty. The remaining parties are powerless, some openly called CCM puppets. Analysts like Nicodemus Mind at the Institute for Security Studies track the pattern. CCM's vote share: 58% in 2015, 84% in 2020, 99% in the 2024 local elections. The prediction this year? 99% again. Observers warn, this won't be free or fair. But the government moves forward anyway. Tanzania. A land of beauty. Rich culture. Resilient people. For 60 years, this nation avoided the coups and civil wars that tore its neighbors apart. It stayed peaceful. Stable. A quiet success story. Until now. Today, it's a system wearing democracy's mask. Holding elections without choices. Media without freedom. And justice without truth. And when you question it, they call it sexism. But this isn't about gender. It's about power, and what people do when they have too much of it. History will not judge President Samia by her gender, but by what she did with her power. There's a Swahili proverb. When the monkey's day to die comes, all the trees become slippery. Tanzania stands at that moment now. Where truth is dangerous. And silence feels safe. But one soldier's voice has already broken through. And his words still echo across East Africa. Your government is stealing from you. If we don't stop them, this nation will collapse. This story isn't over yet.